All right, let's get right into it. If you're anywhere in Kenya's petroleum industry, and I mean from the big import ships all the way down to the local pump, 2025 is about to bring a massive change to your world. This isn't just more paperwork, folks. It's a full-on push for complete transparency and accountability. So let's break down exactly what these new regulations mean for you.
And who's the new enforcer on the block? It's the Energy and Petroleum Regulatory Authority, or as you probably know them, EPRA. They are the ones spearheading this whole thing. Think of them as the new central nervous system for all of the country's fuel data, collecting it, managing it, and making sure everyone plays by the new rules.
So here's the first big thing you really need to know. There's a new universal deadline coming for everyone. The 10th of the month? Yeah, you're going to want to circle that on your calendar because it's about to become incredibly important. So what exactly does EPRA expect to see from you by then? Let's find out.
So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the basics of the new rules. Then we'll literally follow the fuel's data trail right from the ship to the storage tank. Then from the pipeline to the pump. After that, we'll get into the specifics for retailers. And finally, we'll cover the serious consequences of not following these rules.
Okay, let's kick things off with the fundamentals. Who's in charge, what are they asking for, and when does it all need to be done? This is the foundation for everything else we're going to talk about.
Now, where does all this come from? Well, it's not just some new idea they dreamed up. This all comes straight from the Energy Act. EPRA is the official, legally mandated body in charge here. So every single report, every form, all the data we're about to discuss, it's all heading straight to them. To really get a grip on just how big these changes are, we're going to follow the journey of the fuel itself. We'll start right at the beginning, from the moment a ship arrives in the country and that fuel goes into storage. The data trail literally begins at the port. And here it is again, that magic date, the 10th. This is probably the single most important date to burn into your memory. It doesn't matter if you import, store, transport, or sell. Everybody is submitting their data by the 10th day after the end of the month. It's a single, synchronized deadline designed to give EPRA a complete, almost real-time snapshot of the country's fuel situation. Now check out the level of detail we're talking about right from the very start. With Form 2, importers can't just say how much fuel they brought in. No way. They now have to name the exact country it came from, the port it arrived at, and even the name of the ship that carried it. This isn't just about ticking boxes. It's about making the supply chain so visible that it's way harder to do things like illicit fuel dumping. Okay, now for the storage operators. On Form 1, you've got to report your capacity, your stock levels, any losses. But here's where it gets really interesting. If you run a common user facility, you even have to declare who owns the product sitting in your tanks. And get this, all of it has to be geo-referenced. This gives EPRA a live map of fuel stocks, which is huge for preventing hoarding and managing the national supply. So once the fuel leaves storage, it's on the move. And you guessed it, the data reporting requirements follow at every single step of the way, through the pipelines, to the wholesalers, and right down to the individual pump at the retail station. This table gives us a fantastic snapshot. You've got pipeline operators reporting everything down to line fill and dead stocks. That's the fuel that has to stay in the pipe just to keep it working. Then you have wholesalers who have to report exactly where every liter they sold ended up. And for retailers, you've got to report not just your sales, but where you bought your fuel from. That's a huge step in making it tougher for adulterated fuel to get into the system. And of course, LPG businesses have their own reporting too. Okay, let's switch gears a bit. We've been talking a lot about data. But what if you want to actually build a new gas station? Well, these new regulations also lay out a very specific and very strict rulebook for construction, licensing, and operation.
So, you can't just start building. You've got to go through a whole checklist. First, permission from the county. Then you need a thumbs up from the Right Roads Authority, whether that's KENHA for highways, KURA for city roads, or KERA for rural ones. Throw in detailed engineering drawings and a valid NEMA license. You see the picture. It's all designed to make sure new stations are safe, environmentally responsible, and built in the right place.
So what does it cost to get in the game? Well, the application fee to apply for a new petroleum retail business license, according to the official schedule, is 5,000 Kenya shillings. But hold on, don't think that 5,000 shillings is the end of it. Not even close. That fee is really just the entry ticket. The real heavy lifting is in gathering all this other documentation. Tax compliance, fire safety, emergency plans, calibration certificates, the list goes on. The whole point is to raise the bar, making sure only serious, well-prepared operators are running these stations. And that brings us to our final and maybe the most critical part of these new regulations: what happens when things go wrong. The rules are crystal clear, and let me tell you, the penalties for non-compliance are no joke.
If something happens, a reportable incident, the clock starts ticking immediately. You have exactly 48 hours, 2 days, that's it. You have to notify EPA within that window. It's a tight deadline, and it's not negotiable. It's all about forcing a proactive approach to safety.
So, what exactly is a reportable incident? Well, the regulations are super specific. We're talking about any event that leads to a loss of life or serious property and environmental damage that costs more than 1 million shillings. An oil spill over 100 liters, a gas release over 100 kilograms. All of these count. And of course, any fire or explosion that causes any of that.
And what if you deliberately fail to submit all that data we've been talking about? What's the cost of staying silent? It's a big one. The fine can go all the way up to 1 million Kenya shillings.
And listen, this part is absolutely crucial. Thinking about submitting false or misleading info to get by? Don't. It's not a lesser offense. It carries the exact same potential penalty, a fine of up to 1 million shillings. The integrity of the data is just as important as submitting it in the first place.
So when you put it all together, this incredibly detailed data collection backed up by these hefty penalties, it's clear that we're looking at a fundamental change in how things are done. The goal is a petroleum sector that's more transparent, more efficient, and a whole lot safer. The era of guesswork is officially over. And the big question that leaves us with is, how is this new world of total transparency going to reshape everything from competition and pricing to policy and Kenya's energy future?